Hello, everyone. Welcome here today. My name is McCall, and we're going to go through a little bit of movement today. I know it is hard for me to sometimes make it to my mat and to want to go through a little bit of movement. So today really is a day where it is all about just kind of grounding and allowing ourselves just to be. So as we go through poses today, if something doesn't serve you, allow yourself to opt out of it. Give yourself permission to rest and just to listen into yourself. Now, nothing should be painful. So if you experience something that you're like, oh, I'm not too sure about that today, allow yourself to ease out of that pose and alter your body however it may be best for you. I really think it's important to take a body first approach. So as we go through, listen into the body. Now we're going to start in easy pose. I do have some blocks handy. I always like to have some handy to help support in some poses or bring the floor closer to me. But we'll start here in an easy pose or a comfortable position that serves you best. And taking a moment just to check in with yourself and see how you're showing up here today in your practice. Observing how we are feeling physically in our practice. If there's any pain, any pressure, any areas in the body where you feel sore, look stiff. And also checking in with ourselves to see how we're showing up mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically. And observing any thoughts or feelings that arise here. And we can set an intention for our practice. What do you hope to gain from this practice today? What do you need? What does the mind need? What does the body need? And how do you hope to feel? We turn that focus to your breath. And we can let the hands settle wherever it suits us, whether it's to the abdomen or to the heart, or one hand to the heart, one hand to the abdomen, or to our thighs, but observing the rise and the fall of your chest. And observing the rise and the fall of our abdomen. Just allowing ourselves to take those deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Letting it gradually get deeper and longer. And we'll take that into our equal part breathing. We'll be breathing in for a count of 4. We'll have a slight pause where we hold the breath, and then we'll exhale for a count of 4. If it feels uncomfortable, just allow yourself to opt out and breathe as you normally would. But we'll start by emptying out the lungs here with that exhale. Take a nice big inhale for 2, 3, 4, hold. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale, 2, 3, and 4. Returning to your normal breathing here. And starting to bring the awareness back to the physical body, of wiggling our fingertips or our toes, or just adding in any movement that serves you best. And maybe allowing yourself to blink the eyes open and maintaining that softened gaze. Now we're going to go ahead and transition. Let's come to all fours. Now as we come to all fours, we're going to see some cat-cow. So we're going to allow the shoulders to stack over your elbows and your wrists, hips stack over your knees. As you exhale, round the shoulders, chin to chest. As you inhale, drop the belly low. As you exhale, round the shoulders, chin to chest. As you inhale, drop the belly low. As you exhale, round the shoulders, chin to chest. As you inhale, drop the belly low. Continue through here with your breath. Allowing one more in each direction, connecting with your breath. And then returning back to tabletop. Now, as we return to tabletop, we're going to take your left leg nice and long, pressing the ball of the foot into the mat, maybe just gently rocking forward and back. Maybe we start to move the foot around in a circular motion. Or maybe we just hold and we allow the left ball of the foot to press down and towards the mat, observing where you might feel sensations at here. If this is uncomfortable, along your palms, your wrist, you can always make fists with your hands, or you can always take blocks and put them underneath your hands to help absorb some of the shock towards the wrist and the shoulders. Now you'll get to slowly release, but we're going to take that left leg, lift it up, swoop it over towards the right. Let the left toes plant towards the right side on the ground. Take a nice big inhale. As you exhale, turn to look over towards your right, as if you're looking towards those toes planted on the ground on the right-hand side. And it's like we're making a C with our body off towards that side. As you inhale, come back to the center. Slowly release the left leg, back around. Take your right foot nice and long. Press the ball of the foot into the mat. Options to hold or to rock forward and back or to move it around in a circular motion. And then you'll get to slowly release. Lift the right leg up, take it over to the left side, plant the toes to the ground. Nice big inhale. As you exhale, take that bend to the left, turning your gaze to look towards those toes planted on the ground. As you inhale, bring it back to center. Slowly release, right leg back around, and it comes to that tabletop. Now we're going to take a nice big inhale and lift your right arm up towards the sky. As you exhale, thread the needle. Right hand floats under and over to your left side. Left hand can rest above the right arm, reach to the top of your mat, or wrap around to your back right hip. As you inhale, slowly release, come back to center, and we see tabletop. Now we take a nice big inhale with the left arm up towards the sky. As you exhale, thread the needle under and over to your right. Right shoulder lowers down towards the ground. Left hand can rest above the right hand can rest above the left arm, or reach to the top of the mat, or wrap around to your back left hip. On the next inhale, slowly release, come back to center where we see tabletop. Now we're going to take your knees wide. They can be as wide as your mat, big toes can meet. Come to child's pose, sink your hips down towards your heels. Heart can melt down towards the mat. Palms face down towards the mat. Let the fingertips reach towards the top of your mat. Now, if this is uncomfortable on knees, you can double up your mat here, or you can always place a bolster behind your hamstrings, or you can always place blocks behind your hamstrings. Maybe you want to kind of keep the hips up a little bit higher. You can always use those blocks to help support you. So you get to choose. Now, as you inhale, we're going to slowly release and bring ourselves forward. So we come back to tabletop, but then we're going to walk our hands out and we're going to lower down towards the ground. Now, as we lower all the way down towards the ground, let's have our hands along our rib cage. As you inhale, lift the heart. As you exhale, lower it down. As you inhale, lift the heart. As you exhale, lower it down. As you inhale, lift the heart. As you exhale, lower it down to stay. And then bring the palms and the forearms forward. And we're going to let the palms and forearms plant towards the ground. We see Sphinx pose, lifting the heart, but pressing the hips into the mat. As we exhale, we get to slowly release. Allow the hands to stack over one another. Point the elbows towards each side of your mat. Let the head rest to the back of the hands. A little crocodile. Then we're going to let the right hand reach forward. And then we're going to allow that right hand to rest down towards the ground, as if you see something, you're trying to reach for it. Palm is resting on the ground. And then we're going to let that left heel come towards your left glute. Allow the hand to guide the heel towards the glute. If you can't reach it, maybe grabbing a sock or a pant leg, or just reaching your fingertips to the heel. On the next exhale, lower the left leg down nice and slow. Left arm reaches forward. Right hand's going to reach towards the right heel, guiding it into the glute. You can grab a sock, a pant leg, or just reach your fingertips towards the heel. If you can't, gently grab it. As you exhale, slowly release. Allow the right hand to lower down. Bring both hands in towards the rib cage. Tuck the toes under. As you exhale, lift the hips up towards the sky. Come into down dog. Now, anytime you're in down dog, if you have discomfort along the wrist, you can make fist with your palms or put a block underneath each hand. So we allow the thumbs to kind of aim up towards the top of the mat, imagining that we're drawing the elbows down towards the mat to point down. If you have discomfort on the shoulders, widen the arms, discomfort on the hips, you can allow yourself to widen your stance or have a soft bend to your knees. As you exhale, lower down to tabletop. Now, as we lower down towards tabletop, we're going to shift towards our bottom. Now, as we shift down towards the bottom, we're going to see bridge pose. So we come completely flat down towards the ground. We have that bend at the knees, planting the heels and toes towards the ground. Palms and forearms can lower down towards the mat. Take a nice big inhale and lift the hips up towards the sky, keeping the legs parallel to one another, feeling that weight in the heels, being able to wiggle the toes at any point. Palms can stay flat here, or you can interlock the fingertips underneath you, allowing palms to meet as you start to kind of lift the heart towards the sky. As you exhale, you can slowly release and allow the hips to lower back down towards the ground. We come back to that reclined bridge. We'll tuck the knees in towards the chest, wrap the hands around the shins. Maybe we wiggle the toes, maybe we move them in a circular motion. You can relax the toes here. Maybe we start to rock forward and back, bringing some energy along the spine and into the body. If that's uncomfortable, rocking, just hold here in a tiny little ball. But we'll bring ourselves all the way up. Now, if rocking up doesn't feel good, turn gently towards your side and allow yourself to raise to seated forward fold. So we allow the legs to be nice and long. Toes are pointing back towards you. We'll take a nice big inhale, lift the arms up towards the sky, and as you exhale, we'll hinge from the hips and lower the heart down towards the thighs, allowing the hands to reach towards the toes. Hopefully feeling a little gentle stretch along the low back and our hamstrings. And on the next inhale, slowly release and allow yourself to raise up, nice and slow. And we'll start to shift down towards the mat once again. And now as we shift down towards the mat, you can tuck knees into the chest if you need to for a moment. If you just want to kind of hold into a tiny little ball. Otherwise, you can rest here in that reclined bridge. Just take a moment to observe how the body feels. And then we'll slowly allow the heels and the toes to press to the earth in reclined bridge if we're not there yet. And then we'll see bound angle. So we're going to let the outer thighs come apart and allow them to lower down towards the ground as if you're making a diamond with that lower body. The heels and the toes get to meet here, and then choosing a hand placement that serves you. So maybe allow the arms to come into cactus arms where you're making that goalpost, or maybe the letter H, palms and forearms aim to the sky as the back of the arms rest down towards the ground. And we're making that diamond with the lower body and the heels and the toes press in to meet. Now, if you feel a little tight in the hips, you can always utilize blocks, and you can always put them underneath your outer thighs. So if you feel like you need a little bit of support, you can allow those blocks to rest along the outer thigh. And then taking a moment to observe. And then on the next inhale, we'll get to slowly release and bring the hips and the knees back in to meet right at the center, a reverse tabletop. Hands can be in cactus arms, or maybe you make them into a T now and palms face to the sky. Take a nice big inhale. As you exhale, let the hips transition over to the right. Gaze can look towards the ceiling, the left thumb. If you notice that right outer thigh doesn't meet the ground here, you can always allow a block to go underneath. Or if the left knee doesn't meet the right, you can place a block in between. On the next inhale, let the hips transition back to the center. As you exhale, let the hips transition to the left. Using blocks as needed, gaze can look to the ceiling or towards your right thumb. And as you inhale, bring it back to the center. And as you exhale, we can lower it down. You can allow the legs to go nice and long. And as you allow the legs to go nice and long, taking a moment here to come into that corpse pose. Now, as you come into corpse pose, the legs can be as wide as your mat. Your arms can be as wide as your mat or wider. You can always take blocks or a pillow or bolsters and prop them underneath your knees here to go into that basic relaxation pose. Just taking this opportunity to scan back through the body and take note of how you are physically leaving your practice today. How are we mentally leaving our practice, energetically? We find ourselves coming back to the breath, where we see our equal part breathing. Of participating, you're going to empty out the lungs here with an exhale. Take a nice big inhale for 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale. 2, 3, and 4. Returning to your normal breathing here. And taking this opportunity to rest. And you can stay here in Shavasana for as long as you need. Taking this time to relax, to quiet the mind, and to steady the breath, and to feel grounded just as you are. So take as long as you need here, and I'll see you again, my friend. Bye-bye.